Okay, picture this. You've just walked into a room, someone extends their hand, you smile, and they introduce themselves. Fast forward exactly 30 seconds later, and you realize with a sinking feeling that you have absolutely no idea what their name is. It's gone, just completely erased from your mental hard drive. Welcome to this explainer on the 30-second disappearing act. I am so thrilled to guide you through this fascinating cognitive quirk today, mainly because it's something almost every single one of us experiences, yet very few of us actually understand.
So, be honest, have you ever just nodded and smiled like a hostage because you completely blanked on a name? You know the exact feeling. You're standing there desperately keeping the eye contact going, laughing at their jokes, all while frantically searching your brain for a name that simply doesn't exist anymore. You start wondering, am I rude? Am I just a fundamentally careless person? Well, let me reassure you right out of the gate, you are neither. There's something genuinely fascinating happening in your neural circuitry right in that moment that most people never get explained to them. Okay, let's dive into this, the 30-second disappearing act. Let's look at exactly why these names just vanish into thin air. To really get what's happening here, we gotta look at how your brain categorizes incoming data. Neuroscientists have discovered that names are what we call arbitrary labels. Basically, cognitively speaking, a name lacks inherent meaning. It has zero emotional attachment and absolutely no survival value. Our brains evolved over thousands of years to instantly record sensory or emotional connections just to keep us alive, right? But a random collection of syllables? That simply doesn't trigger our biological recording system.
Think about it like this. There is a stark contrast in how our brain processes different types of words. When you learn that a stove is hot, that word wires directly into an intense physical reality. Heat, pain, danger. Your brain links it to something real and physical for your survival. But the name Michael? That tells your brain absolutely nothing useful about Michael. There's no emotion attached to it, no survival value, no sensory connection. It's just this random label floating in complete isolation. And isolated information simply does not stick. There's this fantastic quote that hits the nail on the head. Names are islands. No bridge in, no bridge out. Your brain is literally this ruthlessly efficient machine. It is designed to store information that connects to something else in your existing web of knowledge. Because names typically connect to absolutely nothing when you first hear them, they just fall right through the cracks of your memory network. They are stranded islands. Which brings us to the cognitive overload trap, the brain's ultimate juggling act. Just think about everything your brain is juggling during a simple handshake. In the span of like 2 seconds, you are reading their micro-expressions, you're interpreting their posture, your primitive brain is deciding if they're a threat or if they're safe, you are processing the noise and lighting of the room, and on top of all of that, you are intensely managing your own social performance just to make sure you look normal. That is a staggering cognitive load, and somewhere, buried deep inside all of that frantic, lightning-fast activity, is a name, spoken once, quickly, with zero emotional weight. So, let's just take a breath and slow down for a second, because this is absolutely crucial. This isn't forgetfulness, this is prioritization. Your brain was simply way too occupied keeping you safe and socially calibrated to properly file a random, arbitrary label. Your brain isn't failing you here, it's actively working to prioritize critical social and survival data over a meaningless word. Psychologists actually have a name for this specific little glitch. They call it the next in line effect. You know when you're about to meet someone, or when it's almost your turn to introduce yourself to a group? Your brain focuses so intensely on your own upcoming performance that it barely registers what's actually being said to you. You're anticipating your own introduction, you're worrying about your handshake. Actually, scratch that, it's more like you're completely consumed by not messing up. In that exact moment you heard their name, your ears worked fine for sure, but cognitively, you just weren't listening.
Okay, let's look at the associative brain advantage, because this might actually be a hidden superpower.
Now, get ready for a pretty surprising twist. What if I told you that chronic name forgetters actually possess a hidden cognitive superpower? It's true. People who forget names easily often have highly associative brains. Their memory runs on deep connection and meaning, not isolation. This brain type absolutely excels at stories, concepts, emotions, and experiences because all of those things link to something else, but it struggles with names and isolated facts. This is exactly why writers, creatives, and deep thinkers are disproportionately represented among chronic name forgetters. Their brains are built for rich narrative, not dry nomenclature. But look, we do have to face a pretty harsh biological constraint here. 30. That is the magic number.
Research on memory consolidation shows that new information needs approximately 30 seconds of focused, uninterrupted attention to successfully transfer from your working memory into short-term storage. The biological machinery literally takes 30 seconds to do its job.
But honestly, in reality, how much time do we actually get? 3 seconds, maybe. That's what this stark little number represents. In a real-world social introduction, a fraction of your attention catches the name, and then, within 3 seconds, something else pulls you away. You scan the room, you try to manage your anxiety, you're desperately trying to think of a clever follow-up question. The name arrives and it evaporates long before your brain has had its necessary 30 seconds to do anything useful with it.
And here is the kicker, the part nobody really talks about. The anxiety that follows makes it infinitely worse. The harder you reach for that blocked name, the further it retreats. The moment you realize you've forgotten someone's name, this low-level panic activates in your nervous system. Now, your already limited cognitive resources are split between trying to hold a normal conversation and launching a frantic internal search for a file you literally never saved. It acts like the anxious cousin of the tip-of-the-tongue phenomenon. The memory is fully blocked by your own stress response.
So the whole trick is understanding what actually triggers the brain to save a memory. Look at this breakdown. A massive 75% of memory consolidation is driven by meaning, emotion, and novelty, compared to just a tiny 25% triggered by arbitrary labels. It all comes down to dopamine. When something triggers dopamine, your brain goes, hey, this matters, store it properly. Names in a first meeting rarely trigger dopamine, but this is exactly why memory champions can memorize hundreds of names in minutes. They convert arbitrary labels into emotional, vivid, highly novel visual narratives to basically force a dopamine spike and make the memory stick.
All right, so how to build a bridge? Let's talk about actually remembering these names.
Knowing all the science is great, but how do we actually fix it in the moment? We definitely don't do it by simply trying harder. We do it by giving our associative brains a framework to latch onto. We need to learn how to build a bridge to that isolated island. So, here are your biological cheat codes to transform an arbitrary label into an experience your brain will actually retain. Step 1. Repeat the name immediately out loud. This just forces your brain to pause its frantic multitasking. Step 2. Connect it visually. If you meet a guy named Baker, briefly picture him wearing a giant chef's hat. I know it sounds silly, but it creates novelty. Step 3. Create a tiny story. Tie their name to something they just told you about themselves. You are deliberately giving that isolated island a bridge, turning a random label into a vivid experience that your highly associative brain will absolutely love.
But hey, let's be real for a second. Even with all these tools, sometimes a name is just going to evaporate mid-conversation. And when that happens, I really want you to remember this. Just ask directly, warmly. Most people have been exactly where you are. If you draw a blank, do not let anxiety hijack your brain. It is perfectly fine to just smile and say, I am so sorry your name just slipped my mind, could you tell me one more time? Trust me, people aren't offended because literally everyone experiences this exact same mental blank slate. I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. What if forgetting a name just means you were too busy experiencing the person? Seriously, underneath all the neuroscience and the memory tricks, forgetting a name doesn't mean you're self-absorbed, and it definitely doesn't mean you didn't care. It often just means your brain was way too busy fully engaging in the human experience right in front of you to properly file a label. And honestly, that's really not the worst thing in the world. If this explainer helped reframe something you've been quietly embarrassed about for years, hit that subscribe button so we can keep diving into the fascinating ways our minds work together. See you next time.